Recording.
Hi guys, I'm Carl.
And I'm Adrian.
And we're Adventures of Carlienne,
where we share our passions to inspire you to pursue yours.
And continuing on our cherry blossom series, we're gonna hit our other favorite place in Japan, Kyoto. So what's the first thing in Kyoto on your list?
There's so much in Kyoto. Actually, Kyoto is like one of the most beautiful cities, I think, in Japan. Well, that we've been to. We gotta go to more. But I would say probably the bamboo forest or the bamboo grove. Even though it wasn't what I expected, it was still like really a unique experience. One thing I wasn't expecting was that there were like fences, so you don't get to like actually, you're not like in a forest, like just wandering, which was kind of my fantasy. But actually being there is really cool because the bamboo are so tall, and like I've never seen such tall bamboo where you're like completely like enclosed and it feels like you're in a completely different world. And since we went super early in the morning, well, not super early, but early enough, and that it wasn't crowded yet, it was like really peaceful, and so that was just such a special feeling.
First tip for bamboo forest is to get there early before the crowds.
Yeah, I think it opens around 5 or 5:30 or something like that. So if you go first thing, just like when it's starting to like the sun is up, then it's probably like perfect time.
Yeah. And then when you're all done with the bamboo forest, there's like, you can walk around that area, and it's a really neat area. Towards the end of the main street is a Seiryoji temple, and it's a really cool looking temple. It's free to go in.
Yeah, and just to walk around the gardens, which also have nice cherry blossoms. So if you're there in that season, it's a good place to go.
Yeah. Our other thing, since it's also on that same main street, is there's a few ice cream shops, and we can't find the name of the place we went to, but they will most likely be serving like sakura flavored ice cream. I think I got the mix.
Sakura and matcha.
Yeah.
You'll see it. It's like on the corner next to a store. It's not even on Google Maps. We tried to look for it because we couldn't figure out the name, but we didn't. There's nothing there. What about you?
Well, I think one of the coolest things was the Golden Pavilion, and we thought we went there early, and we were like 15-20 minutes before opening, but there was like a line like it was Black Friday. Like it was huge.
It opens at 9, and even if it's already, there's like a line, the space is really small.
Yeah.
Like it's like that lake and then the pavilion and like a pathway that just kind of goes around it. And so it's a pathway. There's not a lot of space. So if you wait and you go and there's tons and tons of people, it's just gonna be super uncomfortable.
Yeah. And then like after the building though, there's this little cool, I don't know if it's a statue or whatever, but like everybody's like throwing coins, and I guess it's a lucky thing. My dad had a lot of fun just trying to throw it. Hoop dreams, you know? Next.
Another spot we went to that I really liked was the Nijo castle. Really beautiful. It has all these really ornate details on the outside, and if you take the tour inside, or it's not a tour, but it's a walk along through the castle, and they have all these like information placards, so that's actually well documented, unlike some of the other places you might go to that don't have like translations at all. And there's this really interesting part, they call it the Nightingale hallway, and because the floorboards creak in a certain way, because it's something about the nails and so they say it sounds like a nightingale. I don't know what they actually sound like, but it was like kind of a neat thing.
Nijo Castle, again, early. Go early.
And also a good place for cherry blossoms in the gardens. And the infamous Fushimi Inari shrine.
Yes. Many steps. Again, early.
But we got there only maybe like 7 in the morning. Not even like crazy.
Yeah, it's not crazy early.
But it was definitely early enough that you got to feel the peacefulness. You got to admire things and not feel like rushed or like pressured to try and take pictures with no one there.
Yeah.
So I think even though everyone's kind of like really obsessed with just like taking the that, you know, ubiquitous like orange gate, the Torii gate picture, there's actually quite a lot of other parts of the shrine that are really pretty. Like when you go into like the more like woodsy area, where they had like the smaller like shrines with like all the mini gates stacked on top, or like the fox, the Inari statues. I thought those are really beautiful, and they're just this like sort of not neglected, because that's not the right word, but this sort of like old and
I guess overlooked.
Like almost like it just feels really special when you see it, and it feels like you're the only person there, and it's like, is this forgotten, or how long has this been here? And it's just pretty magical.
Yeah. So take those paths, and like that's what we're talking about. Like that's when we saw all those things, and we appreciated those parts of Fushimi Inari just as much as the iconic red gates. Yeah. And afterwards, when you're done, a good lunch place was probably the best udon spot we've ever eaten. It's called Udon Kendonya. When I eat udon, I always get curry udon.
Yeah,
what do you do?
I mean, I like all udon, so I can't say. But you could get the Inari udon, which is because it's, you know, the area, which is the tofu skin that's sweet. It's really tasty. But anything you get there, because they hand make their udon so it's super chewy and thick. It's not like, it's just one of the best udon places we've had.
The best of the best of the best, sir.
So do not miss it.
So one of the special things during the cherry blossom season is geisha performance in Kyoto.
Miyako Odori, I think. It's one of the 5 main performances in Kyoto, and one of the only times you can see geisha perform, unless you go to like a hired thing. The dance performance is really neat because you get to see like a bunch of them, and you get to see the traditional kimono and to listen to the music, which may or may not be to your taste, but it's still a very special experience. Another have to do thing, but really fun thing to do is to rent kimonos. And you can do it at a lot of places throughout Japan, but I thought that Kyoto was one of the nicer places to do it, just because the area that a lot of rentals are, like the Gion district, there's a lot to do. We're all within that like space, because once you're in kimono garb, it's not easy, at least for the girls, to walk very far or very long, because the tabi, the sandals, are not that comfortable if you're not used to them.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you think, it's also a really great way to sort of understand a little bit of Japanese culture. Japanese is so nuanced that even something like just learning about like how a kimono is put on you, and the fact that you cannot dress yourself in a kimono kind of tells you a lot about the culture, and just how a lot of things have special details or rituals or traditions, and I think that was a really great way to experience it.
Yeah.
And kimonos are just so pretty. Yeah.
I didn't do it.
This loser.
I was the cameraman all day. I had no excuse for my father. It's cool to walk around that area, or the Gion district, because a lot of the buildings there look kind of traditional. Yeah. So it like you kind of get a cool picture or video or whatever out of it, and yeah.
And just sort of experience a little bit of like the older Japanese architecture and neighborhoods and stuff like that. And there's a ton of stuff there, just like food, and then the park, Maruyama Park, which is also a good spot for cherry blossoms if that's the season. They also had like the food stalls up there, which we're not sure if they're always there.
Yeah, because we went back to Japan another time, and it wasn't there anymore. So we're assuming it's like a cherry blossom festival more kind of thing.
Seasonal thing.
Yeah, so you can grab takoyaki and a whole lot of other stuff. Like we saw a stall that had Indian food. Yeah.
Surprising.
Yeah.
And another really great place to see the cherry blossoms, which kind of is throughout Kyoto, of course, is the KAMO River. We stayed at an Airbnb sort of like the northeast side of Kyoto, which was right off the river. And that was just like so nice to be like every day that you just like walked to the train station or the metro or whatever, like you walked along the river, and it was just all the cherry blossoms in full bloom. Yeah. So, but next up is food.
Food. All right. So food, we've got Nishiki Market, and it's just like this long alley where you can get all these nice snacks and just everything.
And produce too.
Yeah. What did we get?
we tried a lot of stuff like the mochi. You can get takoyaki there as well. You can get sushi. There's this also really interesting, I kind of regret that we didn't try anything, but I also didn't know what it was. But like that one shop that had all this pickled stuff, like those barrels and barrels of pickled stuff, and I was just like, oh, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So one of the places we enjoyed Kobe beef or like Wagyu beef was Hafuu.
It's a little bit pricey,
yeah,
but it was just really good. So at Hafuu, you can actually like pick which cut you get and like how it's cooked,
what they recommend, and all that stuff. So we actually think you guys should eat there. My mom likes sushi and she's always willing to try like, you know, other things, but my dad so much doesn't like raw stuff. So one of the things he enjoyed was okonomiyaki, and we ate at 2 places in Kyoto. One was called Nishiki Warai. That was tasty.
I would say the biggest difference is sort of like one is a little bit more mainstream and one is a little bit more traditional. So Nishiki was like a booth, so it's like a regular restaurant. They have a lot of their English menu, and they have all like the sauces and stuff for you on the side. There is smoking allowed in that restaurant, just so you're aware. And then on the other side, you have a shop like Gion Tanto, which is in the Gion district, and it's tatami mat, so you sit on the floor. They do have a small counter, but of course it's like limited seating, so if you have issues with your knee, you can always request the counter. And it's a much smaller menu, and the vibe is really different there. And you're like, I'm next to like a little, not a river, but like a stream or something.
Yeah. It's more peaceful, I would say. So it's a very good okonomiyaki experience.
Yes. And then another thing, of course, in Japan is ramen. We finally tried one of the more famous spots, I guess you could say.
Yeah, famous because they're all over the world. And it was funny because we were in line and I was like surfing through Instagram and I saw one of my friends eating in the location here in the Bay Area. And so I had to like, you know, shout him out and tell him we're eating at the Ippuddo in Kyoto. I see you, Ralph. I see where you're eating, bro. Let me one up you and eat at the one in Japan. The ramen there is actually pretty good. Like, I can see why it's pretty famous, but to be honest, is it worth the wait? In Japan, probably not, because there's so many places to get good ramen.
If you go on an off hour, like, you know, closer to 2 or like 4 or something like that when we went, then like, no wait, then it's totally worth going. But we wouldn't spend your time waiting for something when you can easily go to another ramen spot that's like really good too. Anything else?
No, I think that pretty much covers Kyoto.
It's a lot. And there's definitely more, and we can't wait to go back and share some more with you guys.
Definitely, yeah. So our blog has all the details, all pictures, everything that we've been to in Kyoto, where we checked out cherry blossoms and everything. So make sure to click there. Everything's down in the details. Go ahead and subscribe, click a bell, follow us, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.